I wanted to show this one recording. This is Steinn Sigurdsson from Penn State University. He's the scientific director for arXiv. And this is a video that he gave that's, he's the lead moderator, so he has the ultimate authority to accept or reject an article from arXiv. And so I just wanted to show this clip.
Curate it. It has to be some judgment call at some point saying, is it in? Is this part of what we are trying to gather together here? This is not a random pile of stuff everybody's ever written. It's on topic. And we don't require it to be correct. We are not interested in whether you're right or wrong. I think this is because we were set up by theoretical physicists. They're wrong all the time. Get used to it. It's whether it's interesting, or possibly interesting, or maybe interesting to someone eventually, based on our judgment. And there are other archives, and there's the internet. We're not shutting access off. We are collecting on-topic things that people are willing to have us share. Our current standard essentially is that it be substantive and refereeable. And we require there to be references and citations, just as a minimum academic standard. It's very light touch beyond that. All right, just for fun, this is, for example, the list of mathematics moderators from earlier this year. And this is the pretty much the entire list. So this is just the mathematics section. And the moderation is hierarchical. There are topic moderators. We try to have 2 moderators per topic. Then the bigger fields have what we call appellate moderators, which cover sections of the topic, and things get bounced up to them if there's a problem. And then there is a chair for the area who oversees all of this and makes judgment calls and passes things up to me and says, and I am the final arbiter of in or out. And I try to get as few things as possible, but we're also always constantly firefighting and trying to get things flowing. Okay. This is an example. So this I found this. It's in an archive at Caltech. It's a postcard from Einstein. It talks about relativity theory. And if you submit it to the archive, I'll reject it. Well, A, because you're not Einstein. Although we do actually allow posthumous submissions by people who are allowed to represent the author. It's because it's not research. It's historically very interesting. It's a snapshot of a conversation that was taking place in 1930, I think it was, or late 20s. But it's not research. It would not be in the archive. My edge case, and one of the things I learned very fast is that whatever decision we are making about what is in the archive or not in the archive, you immediately create a border that is ambiguous and you're not sure if something should be in or out. And whatever decision you make, all you do is move the border. You never make it clean. You just have a fuzzy border where it's like, anyway, I'd put this in the archive. So does anybody know what this is? I'd put in the archive if we had the right category for it. We actually don't have the category that's appropriate for it, but if we had that category, it'd be in there in a millisecond.
You want us to guess?
Yes.
Is it Leonardo?
No. But more importantly, what is the content? What is this a list of? Close. It's a shopping list. It's Michelangelo's shopping list. And yeah, if we had a appropriate art or history section, that would cross the border for me. So, just in case you ever wonder how I make my decisions. All right.
That makes it completely clear.
History of science section, and why wouldn't Einstein's postcard?
It could go into the history of science section, but it would have to be put into context. A postcard by itself could be a piece of data from a paper, or embedded in a paper. If you want to write a short letter saying we discovered this postcard from Einstein in somebody's personal collection, And it talks about his insight into relativity theory, and it gives some context and cite the papers that are relevant, and put it in context. And yes, it'd be in instantly. But as a piece of data by itself, that is not something to accommodate. And as writing by Einstein.
What's different about the international?
It is work in progress. It is, you can consider it a draft of a more complete work that was published later. My wife did art history, so. What was that?
Certainly Einstein published so much.
Yes. We're preprint. So if you have a draft that has gotten some substantive ideas developed into it, you can put it in as version 1. And then there will be later versions. Although you can't game that. You can't put in an empty paper with a title and an idea and try to claim priority by saying you put it in the archive first. We catch that and throw it out. There has to be content. I was just showing you an edge. It's a little pointy edge, and it's safe because we don't actually do art. But if the postcard from Einstein had considered some equations doodled on the side, or I talked to Mach, was Mach still alive then? Anyway, or somebody, and they said, try this, then it would probably cross the border for me into being on the archive. I was just trying to find examples where people might disagree about whether it should be in or out, and telling you where I see a line and why it's there. All right. So moderation. Moderation is our hardest task. It doesn't scale. It went from Paul going, yes, 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 to Paul having a postdoc who was going, no, stop it, to various friends being recruited and asked to provide their expertise on subfields. And now we have a network of essentially friends of friends, which has certain biases and instabilities in it. And it's so large that we have continuous turnover. Once you get to a couple hundred people, you're never in equilibrium. You're always covering people, something happens to people, they get fed up, they quit. It's work, it's hard work, and it's fairly thankless work. And we spend a lot of time writing letters explaining to department chairs and deans that these people are doing something interesting that's invisible and extremely valuable to the community and must be recognized as part of their service work. So we do that. Our solution right now is to try to automate this as much as possible. Okay, I have no idea what page I'm on. I forgot to put page numbers on. And we, in fact, have an AI engine that tries to do a lot of the moderation. And it's quite good. As the person who has to break moderation disputes, I realized very quickly that there is always an edge case, no matter what standard you set. And they're not actually very important. We're talking 0.1%, 0.01% of the flow of manuscripts, except they're really important to the author. Authors really don't like to be told, sorry, no, this is not going in the archive, go somewhere else. So we get jammed. We have seasonally predictable pileups where things get held up. And we also have to be aware of gatekeeping. When you're a moderator, you sort of get a prison guard syndrome sometimes. And you start enforcing rules that really aren't there. So we have to watch out for that and make sure that we aren't putting up walls where there shouldn't be. The gatekeeping is a very serious problem and a necessary, I think, unavoidable side effect of moderation. All right. As of this morning, we had 1,455,830 e-prints. And as of a couple of hours from now, we'll have a few thousand more.
I wanted to show you this because I found it quite interesting, and if you want to watch the rest of his video, it is online on our LibGuide if you click on the left-hand side to the archive presentation.